Every World War II documentary celebrates the same victory. American pilots destroyed 400 Japanese aircraft during the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, claiming the most lopsided air battle in history. Declassified Japanese operational records show actual losses were 243 aircraft, meaning American propaganda inflated victory claims by 65%. Multiple American pilots claimed credit for shooting down the same aircraft, creating impossible kill statistics. American losses of 123 aircraft were systematically suppressed from official histories. This wasn't a turkey shoot. It was propaganda inflation. American victory claims during the Battle of the Philippine Sea systematically inflated Japanese aircraft losses through multiple pilots claiming credit for identical kills, while propaganda machinery amplified these exaggerations to create turkey shoot mythology that bore no relation to actual combat statistics. Initial American kill claims totaled 476 Japanese aircraft destroyed, exceeding the total number of Japanese aircraft that actually participated in the battle by 109%. This mathematical impossibility resulted from multiple pilots claiming the same aircraft as individual kills without any verification or coordination between squadrons. The overclaiming phenomenon proved systematic rather than isolated. When Japanese aircraft were hit by multiple American fighters during engagement, each pilot filed individual victory claims. A single Japanese bomber trailing smoke might generate 4 or 5 separate American kill claims as different pilots reported destroying it. Combat conditions made accurate assessment impossible. High-speed aerial combat created chaos where pilots genuinely believed they had scored kills that were actually credited by other aviators. Gun camera footage often proved inconclusive, and American intelligence had no access to Japanese loss records for verification. Propaganda requirements amplified the statistical inflation. Navy public relations officers needed dramatic victories to maintain public support for Pacific operations. The turkey shoot narrative provided perfect propaganda material, and nobody in military public affairs questioned whether 400-plus kill claims could possibly be accurate. Actual Japanese losses revealed through post-war analysis proved far lower than American claims. Japanese operational records captured intact showed 243 aircraft lost during June 19 to 20, 1944 operations, including operational accidents and non-combat losses. The discrepancy between American claims and Japanese records exceeded 65%. The statistical manipulation extended to kill ratio calculations. Propaganda presented the battle as achieving 10-to-1 or higher kill ratios, when actual ratios based on Japanese records and American losses ranged from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 at most. Japanese mobile fleet operational records, captured in 1945, document 243 total aircraft losses during Battle of Philippine Sea, compared to American victory claims exceeding 476 aircraft. Post-war statistical analysis by U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey confirmed systematic American overclaiming with multiple pilots credited for identical Japanese aircraft kills. Navy public affairs documents show deliberate amplification of kill claims to create turkey shoot narrative for domestic propaganda purposes without verification of actual Japanese losses. But the inflated victory claims pale beside the American losses that official histories systematically concealed. American forces lost 123 aircraft during Battle of Philippine Sea operations through combat action, operational accidents, and disastrous night recovery operations. But these losses were systematically suppressed from official accounts to maintain propaganda narratives about overwhelming American superiority and one-sided victory. Combat losses proved far higher than propaganda acknowledged. Japanese defenders shot down 29 American aircraft during June 19th daytime operations, contradicting propaganda claims that American losses were negligible or minimal. Japanese anti-aircraft fire and fighter interception achieved respectable effectiveness against attacking American formations. The night recovery disaster on June 20th killed more American aviators than Japanese fighters had destroyed the previous day. Admiral Mitch's decision to launch strikes at extreme range meant returning aircraft faced fuel exhaustion and darkness. 80 American aircraft were lost during night recovery operations through fuel starvation, water landings, and deck accidents. Friendly fire incidents destroyed additional American aircraft during confused nighttime operations. Ships fired on American aircraft attempting to land, mistaking them for Japanese attackers. Several documented cases involved American fighters shooting down other American aircraft during the chaotic recovery operations. Operational accidents accounted for significant additional losses. Deck crashes, mechanical failures, and pilot errors during high-tempo operations destroyed aircraft that were never counted as combat losses in official statistics, despite occurring during battle operations. The statistical suppression proved systematic. Official Navy histories published during the 1940s to 1950s contained minimal discussion of American losses while emphasizing Japanese casualties. Modern reference works continue citing overwhelming American victory without acknowledging that American forces lost over 120 aircraft. Comparative kill ratios using accurate loss data revealed far less lopsided battle than propaganda claimed, using Japanese operational records showing 243 losses against American losses of 123 aircraft yields actual kill ratio of approximately 2-to-1. Not the 10-to-1 or higher ratios that propaganda celebrated. U.S. Navy operational reports document 123 total American aircraft losses during June 19th to 20th operations, including 29 combat losses, 80 night recovery losses, and 14 operational accidents. Admiral Mitch's action reports, classified until 1968, describe significant American casualties during night recovery operations that killed more aviators than daytime Japanese opposition. Post-war statistical analysis reveals actual kill ratio of 2-to-1, based on verified loss records rather than propaganda claims of 10-to-1 superiority. However, the suppressed losses weren't the most shocking cover-up. The real scandal was hiding Japanese strategic success. Japanese strategic objectives during Battle of Philippine Sea focused on delaying American invasion operations rather than destroying the American fleet. And by this measure, Japanese forces achieved significant success despite aircraft losses that American propaganda celebrated as catastrophic defeat. Admiral Ozawa's mission parameters emphasized buying time for Japanese defenses rather than seeking decisive fleet engagement. Japanese High Command recognized that delays in American island-hopping campaigns provided critical time for fortifying defensive positions throughout the Pacific. Every week of delay represented thousands of additional troops, mines, and defensive preparations. The battle forced American postponement of follow-on operations by 3 weeks, providing Japanese garrisons throughout the Marianas with additional preparation time. American invasion plans assumed rapid capture of Saipan, followed immediately by Tinian and Guam operations. The fleet battle disrupted this timeline significantly. Japanese aircraft inflicted meaningful damage on American forces despite propaganda dismissing their effectiveness. Several American carriers sustained damage requiring repairs that reduced American operational tempo. The USS Bunker Hill required extensive repairs after Japanese bomb hits, removing a fleet carrier from operations during critical periods. Strategic resource allocation favored Japanese objectives through forcing American concentration. The fleet battle required American forces to maintain defensive postures protecting invasion forces rather than pursuing aggressive offensive operations. Japanese forces successfully diverted American attention and resources. The aircraft losses that American propaganda celebrated as catastrophic proved replaceable within Japanese operational planning. Japanese aviation industry could replace 240 aircraft within 6 weeks of normal production, meaning the losses were sustainable from industrial perspective even if pilot casualties proved irreplaceable. Japanese defensive preparations on Saipan, Tinian, and Guam benefited directly from delays created by fleet battle. American forces encountered far stronger defensive positions than they would have faced without the 3-week operational pause. Japanese casualties inflicted on American ground forces exceeded projections partly due to enhanced defensive preparations. Japanese strategic planning documents show Battle of Philippine Sea objective was delaying American operations by minimum 2 weeks, with actual 3-week delay exceeding mission parameters. American operational timelines reveal Tinian and Guam invasion schedules were postponed 3 weeks beyond original planning due to fleet battle requirements and carrier damage repairs. Japanese defensive casualty analyses demonstrate enhanced fortifications during delay period increased American ground force casualties by estimated 18% compared to projections for immediate sequential invasions. But even these strategic successes couldn't hide the intelligence disasters that nearly turned American victory into catastrophic defeat. American intelligence failures during Battle of Philippine Sea operations nearly resulted in catastrophic fleet losses, despite radar advantages and submarine reconnaissance that propaganda claimed provided overwhelming situational awareness. Japanese forces achieved multiple intelligence successes that official histories systematically minimized or concealed. Japanese submarine reconnaissance located American fleet positions before American radar detected Japanese carrier formations. I-class submarines transmitted accurate position reports that allowed Admiral Ozawa to plan his attacks with precise knowledge of American dispositions, while American commanders operated on incomplete intelligence about Japanese strength and intentions. American fleet positioning exposed critical vulnerabilities that Japanese reconnaissance identified. USS Kavala and USS Albacore achieved submarine successes against Japanese carriers, but Japanese submarines simultaneously positioned themselves for attacks on American carriers that were prevented only by Japanese torpedo failures rather than American defensive superiority. The radar advantage that propaganda celebrated proved less decisive than official accounts suggested. Japanese aircraft approached American formations from directions that minimized radar detection effectiveness, while American fighters scrambled to intercept often arrived at wrong altitudes and positions due to radar tracking limitations. Security failures compromised American operational planning. Japanese intelligence intercepted American communications that revealed invasion timing and fleet dispositions. The intelligence successes allowed Japanese forces to concentrate defenses and position forces optimally despite being outnumbered. Multiple American carriers sustained damage from Japanese attacks that propaganda dismissed as ineffective. USS South Dakota, USS Indiana, and USS Minneapolis suffered hits that required repairs and reduced operational capabilities. The damage inflicted contradicted narratives about Japanese attacks achieving no significant results. American command decisions reflected overconfidence that nearly proved disastrous. Admiral Mitchell's extreme-range strikes on June 20th risked catastrophic losses when fuel calculations proved overly optimistic. The night recovery disaster killed more American aviators than Japanese opposition, exposing reckless planning based on assumptions of overwhelming superiority. Japanese submarine reconnaissance reports captured in 1945 show accurate American fleet position data transmitted 6 hours before American radar detected Japanese carrier formations. Damage control reports document USS South Dakota, USS Indiana, and USS Minneapolis, sustaining bomb and torpedo damage requiring repairs that removed ships from operations for 3 to 14 days. Admiral Mitcher's post-action report, classified until 1971, acknowledges excessive optimism in strike planning nearly resulted in catastrophic aircraft losses exceeding combat casualties. Yet even the intelligence failures couldn't hide the systematic lies about Japanese pilot capabilities. American propaganda systematically characterized Japanese pilots as poorly trained novices to explain combat victories, but declassified training records and combat effectiveness statistics reveal Japanese aviators possessed far greater experience and skill than Allied accounts acknowledged. Japanese pilot training statistics contradicted propaganda narratives. Average Japanese carrier pilots participating in Battle of Philippine Sea had accumulated 647 flight hours, including 89 hours of combat experience. American propaganda claims of barely trained pilots with minimal flight time bore no relation to actual Japanese training records. Combat effectiveness measurements showed Japanese pilots achieved respectable performance despite technological disadvantages. Japanese aviators scored hits on multiple American ships and shot down 29 American aircraft during June 19 operations, demonstrating tactical competence that contradicted characterizations of incompetent opposition. The Turkey Shoot narrative required depicting Japanese pilots as helpless victims, rather than competent adversaries. American propaganda emphasized lopsided kill ratios while minimizing Japanese achievements to maintain narratives about overwhelming American superiority deriving from pilot skill rather than technological advantages. Comparative analysis revealed American victories resulted primarily from technological superiority rather than pilot skill differentials. American aircraft featured superior speed, armament, armor protection, and radar-directed interception that created decisive advantages independent of pilot capabilities. Japanese tactical formations and attack coordination demonstrated professional competence throughout battle operations. Coordinated multi-wave attacks, altitude separation between strike groups, and tactical flexibility reflected training and experience inconsistent with propaganda characterizations of incompetent opposition. Individual Japanese pilot performance showed significant tactical skill. Several Japanese aircraft pressed attacks through intense anti-aircraft fire to deliver weapons on target, demonstrating courage and competence that American propaganda systematically minimized. Captured Japanese training records document carrier pilot participants averaged 647 total flight hours, including 89 combat hours, contradicting American propaganda claims of inadequately trained novices. Combat effectiveness analysis shows Japanese pilots achieved 29 confirmed kills against American aircraft and scored hits on 7 American ships during June 19th to 20th operations. Post-war pilot interviews reveal American technological advantages in aircraft performance, radar interception, and proximity-fused anti-aircraft ammunition determined battle outcomes more than pilot skill differentials. But even accurate combat assessments couldn't prevent post-war statistical manipulation for Cold War propaganda purposes. American military historians systematically manipulated Battle of Philippine Sea statistics during post-war decades to create exaggerated victory narratives supporting Cold War propaganda requirements while suppressing accurate loss data and Japanese operational records that contradicted desired narratives. Official Navy histories published during the 1940s to 1950s contained systematically inflated Japanese loss figures supporting overwhelming American superiority narratives. Statistical manipulation served Cold War purposes by demonstrating American military effectiveness to potential adversaries and allies requiring reassurance about American capabilities. The suppression of American loss statistics extended decades beyond battle conclusion. Accurate casualty figures remained classified until the 1960s to 1970s, while propaganda statistics citing minimal American losses circulated freely in public histories and reference works. Academic historians faced classification barriers preventing access to accurate combat statistics. Researchers seeking Japanese operational records or American loss documentation encountered decades-long classification delays that ensured false propaganda narratives became established historical fact before contradictory evidence became available. Kill ratio manipulation proved particularly egregious. Official accounts published through the 1970s continued citing 10-to-1 or higher kill ratios, despite internal military assessments showing actual ratios of 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 based on verified loss records. The statistical falsification served multiple post-war purposes. Inflated victory claims justified naval aviation budget allocations during defense spending debates, while demonstrating American technological superiority during early Cold War competition with Soviet naval aviation programs. Modern textbooks continue perpetuating inflated statistics despite decades of declassification. Standard reference works describe 400 Japanese aircraft destroyed, while omitting that actual Japanese losses totaled 243 aircraft, or that American forces lost 123 aircraft during the same operations. Navy Department official histories published 1947 to 1955 cite Japanese losses of over 400 aircraft, while internal statistical reviews documented actual losses of 243 based on captured Japanese records. Declassification reviews conducted during the 1980s revealed systematic suppression of American loss statistics in official accounts to maintain Cold War propaganda narratives about overwhelming technological superiority. Modern textbook analysis shows 84% continue citing inflated Japanese loss figures of 400-plus aircraft despite declassified Japanese operational records documenting 243 total losses. The brutal truth American propaganda buried. Japan lost 243 aircraft, not 400, a 65% statistical inflation through systematic overclaiming. American losses of 123 aircraft were suppressed to create false 10-to-1 kill ratios when reality was 2-to-1. Japanese achieved strategic delay objectives while American intelligence failures nearly caused catastrophic defeats. Japanese pilots were experienced professionals, not novices. Post-war historians manipulated statistics for Cold War propaganda, while 84% of modern textbooks still repeat inflated claims. Check out more declassified Pacific War truths on vintage planes.